What is up? Ah! God. My voice didn't want to work for a second. What is up? I am back. I lived, bitch. Oh my God. Yeah. We're back. We're fucking back. Oh my gosh. I'll tell you right now, dude. It has been a thing, to be certain. Now, I want to say thank you to everybody in here who let me know when it happened, when the account was hacked. I want to thank everybody in here who got onto social media and not only made me aware, but also added Team YouTube to encourage them to help me out when I lost communication with them for a few hours. I want to thank all of you for that. Like, seriously. Bottom of my heart. Like, it meant a lot. Like, I'm not blowing smoke either. I'll tell you this right now, guys. Brain is in the chat. He was playing Space Marine 2 with me while this situation was kind of unfolding. And, in fact, while we were playing, that is when they started the process of recovering the channel. For those who do not know what happened, yesterday, my YouTube channel was hacked by someone who I'm guessing was either trying to get people to buy crypto or worked for some crypto company. And the channel, basically, it got reported by people when it happened, and then the channel just simply got deleted. Now, the lucky thing is that if a channel gets deleted, it doesn't stay deleted unless you don't respond to YouTube within 30 days. So the instant that I found out that this happened, because I woke up at about like 4 o'clock in the afternoon yesterday, because I sleep during the day. I woke up and I freaked the fuck out, but I knew what to do at the very least. You know, because this isn't the first time this happened. This happened like a year and a half ago. And effectively what happened is I did all the things at the time that Google tells you to do to secure your account. And they worked for a year and a half. And then they got their hands on it again. I say they as in like crypto bros as a group. This time they managed to find a way to bypass two-factor. So now I have a few different things. I have whatchamacallit. I have my two-factor on. I have a backup email on. I have a backup of a backup email on. So there's layers to this, basically, for the guy to try to get around. We also have the fucker's email address. Because on one hand, the annoying thing is he tried to put parental controls on the account. So basically he gets notified whenever I publish a new video. But I also get notified on my email that he's been notified. And when I started the stream, he didn't get notified. So I think they're already working on it. But basically, like, he did that to also keep his hooks in. The problem for him is that his email address, his Gmail address, is there. So there's a trail. So hopefully they're able to do something about it. But regardless, I'm going to be taking more precautions than ever before to make sure that this account is secure. But to the credit of YouTube support, like the fact that they got all this back within a couple of days is very quick service. Admittedly, I got a little pissed off at the start. Like, I was very... Because here's the thing. Like, this is what I do full time now. Like we're at a point where once you're monetized, like if you're getting like 100,000 or so views a month, which I do, I get more than that actually, plus super chats and memberships. It's not hard to actually like make a living doing YouTube, provided you're smart with your money, which I have like 3 bills out. Like I have rent, I have internet, I have phone. That's it. That's all I have. So, but yeah, we are back in a big way. So I'm pretty stoked. I'm glad you guys are all here. I'm glad to see the positive vibes, because Shirt Dude's in here too, my editor. But yeah, we're back. What's happening right now is basically it takes YouTube a little bit of time to restore everything on the channel back. If you look at like the main page, it's just showing channel members and the stream right now. But hopefully it will update that as we continue to go forward. And I'm just keeping an eye on my emails as well. So, but yeah, everything is back live. But yeah, they it got hacked. And one person in here mentioned that it was a little weird that the instant I called out other YouTubers that I got hacked. I don't think that's what happened. I don't think that's necessarily related, but you never know. You know, for all we know, it could be some crazed fan of Clownfish, because I called out Clownfish on Twitter, or those other 2 idiots that I called out. It could be, but I don't think it is. Let's see here. Is that a Stein, a Riesel, and a Jagan behind you? It is a Stein, a Riesel, a Jagan, and a Jesta. Yes. So it's all 4. But yeah, I am back. The Crypto Bros could not keep me down. I am basically doing this just doing this stream before I go to sleep to let everybody know that I'm back. We're okay. We're kicking ass. We're taking names, so on and so forth, and things will go on as scheduled. Because like for members right now, you'll be able, of course, to access the perks once again, and there is a review available for early access, and on top of that, I am going to start probably over the weekend working on Zeta Gundam Part 3. I've already got these behind me these are master grades. But the whatchamacallit, but yeah, I'm gonna start working on Zeta Gundam Part 3. The other thing that I've also been working on, because we hit the donation goal that I had set, is I have started watching Frere in Season 1. I'm actually almost done with it already. I have to say, man, and make sure the payment setup's directed to you. Yes, everything is fine. I double-checked my AdSense account. It is still paying out to me. So, I also double-checked my PayPal, because it looks like they tried to access that too, but they weren't able to get into it because I have the 2-factor stop them on PayPal. They couldn't, because I have an authenticator app as well that I use. So they couldn't go through it. So yeah. I'm pretty I'm actually feeling pretty good. I'm just exhausting. Fucking exhausted, man. I can't even get words right. Because it's just been one of those things where, like, I don't want to go to sleep now because I'm kind of paranoid about it. It sounds so fucking terrible, but it's the truth of the matter. Will you do double Zeta next or move on to Char's counterattack? I will be doing double Zeta after Zeta. Char's counterattack Shirt Dude and I are going to have to come up with like how we're going to cover that, because we have to come up with the timeline of events. We have to figure out, because the deep dive on Char's counterattack will probably only be one episode, because I'm trying to think of, there's not like a whole lot of players in it. There's Char himself, obviously, right? But there's also the Slave Wraith team is around during that, and I think a couple of them are actually with Neo Zeon at the time. So we'll be discussing that, and then I also want to talk about what leads up to it. You know, kind of like where all the players were. Like, we'll talk about Amuro after the Battle of Kilimanjaro. We'll talk about because from what I remember in Zeta, Amuro doesn't show up I don't think he shows up actually at all after Kilimanjaro, but we will have to talk about Moon Gundam in the Char's counterattack one. Moon Gundam might get its own episode. So, will you touch on Unicorn lore as well? Let me readjust my microphone here. Unicorn might get its own series, honestly. I have to review Unicorn and see what I think about it. Because the last time I watched Unicorn, I was not pleased with it. But I'll just put it this way. I have a lot of compliments about Unicorn, but the problem about it is that there will be all these compliments, and then you're going to hear some very familiar music. Yeah. Which I think that I've done a pretty good job of establishing that whenever I'm doing a video about anything, the instant you hear the Mallow Mart theme, there's problems. You know, like the people are going to be like, oh no, god damn it. So yeah, that's basically what's going to happen, is that there's going to be compliments. There's going to be compliments and narrative dissection, and then you're going to hear the Mallow Mart theme, and you're going to be like, oh, fuck. So, because Shirt Dude and I have actually sat down and talked about like how we're going to approach Unicorn whenever we do that video. And admittedly, if I'm behind on my writing for Zeta, I might go ahead and do it, honestly. Just because I'm admittedly behind schedule already. But yeah, Unicorn might surprise a lot of people in how my review is. I think people are going to be like, Micah, you're a crazy person. But I kind of am. You know, it is what it is. But yeah, it'll be an interesting video, because what else is there to do? There's Unicorn, and then there's Narrative, and then there's Hathaway. Narrative I will do by itself, but if I did like a Gundam Unicorn deep dive, what I would do is I would probably do like Unicorn Part 1, Unicorn Part 2. So for like the opening part and then the second part of it, and then try to find like the associated manga that take place around it. Because there's like one where we have like it's where the Delta Chi, the Gundam Delta Chi comes in and stuff like that. Like try to find those together, and then like for like a part 3 do Narrative and break down Narrative. I don't remember a whole lot of Gundam Narrative, so I'm actually kind of looking forward to doing that. Hey Wiley Hamilton, thank you very much, man. I appreciate the compliment, dude. It means a lot. Especially yesterday, man. After yesterday, I love you guys. Seriously, you guys mean the world to me. You really do. Like it's crazy how much this community has grown over the last year and a half. Like, somebody gave me shit in the comments of my last video. He's like, like, hey man, honesty is something that's not seen much on YouTube. That's why your channel is in the hole. I'm like, I doubled my subscribers in like a year, man. Come on. Delta Kaizen 0094 across the sky. Yeah, we'll have to figure out what all ties into Unicorn manga-wise, and I'm going to have to see if it's even in English. Oh, goodness. The entire Turn A series has been uploaded to YouTube? Is it official through Bandai, or is it somebody just guerrilla uploaded it? Kind of like Mad Dog 80 whatever it is. But yeah, I haven't covered F91 or Victory yet. I've not done a Crossbone review either. I don't think I'll do a Crossbone deep dive because Shirt Dude already did one. So, Crossbone though, like, would get several reviews. Like, it would be Crossbone, and then what came after Crossbone? Because there's Crossbone, then there's another series, then there's Steel 7. Then there's the one that takes place during Victory, and then there's the one that takes place after Victory. Tomino only writes the first one. So yeah. Thoughts on 9/11? That was a very bad day. I like watched that on television as it happened. I'm old. Keep that in mind. I'm old. I was 16 when 9/11 happened. Will I do G-Reco? Probably at some point. I will have to do Turn A and G-Reco. Someone uploaded all of Turn A, Age, and Gundam X to YouTube. That's wild. Because I know that, like, the official Gundam YouTube channel, they will upload series, like, one episode at a time, and then they'll take it, down. You weren't alive for it? So let me kind of give you an idea of what it was like to watch it on television. It was... Every generation kind of has, like, the beginning of, like, the military action that kind of defines them in a way. Though, granted, I don't think Zoomers have had theirs yet. But for me, for my generation, it was the global war on terror. And a lot of us were really, really, really horrified because we saw everything start from start to finish. I remember being in my homeroom early in the morning, and well, early for me now, but it was the beginning of school. I'm in homeroom, which we had at the start of every day for the first hour, and the teacher in there, who was my biology teacher, was told to turn on the TV, and we saw one of the World Trade Centers just on fire, and nobody knew what the fuck had happened. And then we see a plane literally go into the other tower and explode, and it's like, oh shit. And I thought you got sick, Nova. Glad you survived. Yep, I am alive. I am here. So yeah, it was really, really sad to watch. Like, it was heartbreaking because, like, on live television, on CNN, I watched people literally jumping out of the towers to their death. And then I watched both towers collapse. Like, it was fucking horrifying. Absolutely fucking horrifying. So yeah, 9/11 was very frightening. Very, very frightening to watch. It's why you don't hear me making a ton of jokes about it, because I actually saw it live on television. Like, it's very, very fucked up. Yeah, it's very fucked up to watch something like that happen. Um, absolutely flabbergasted. Couldn't find your videos last night. I was wondering what was going on. Yep, the hackening. You watch CNN. Pip pip. Come on, buddy. You listened to exactly what I said. I said the homeroom teacher turned on the television to CNN. I had no choice in it. Come on. Be fair. Goodness gracious. People giving me shit for stuff I couldn't control. I was 16, man. I wasn't in charge of anything. Let's see here. For the Cross Ange video will be a legit straight fire. I think it came out pretty well. We wanted to make sure that it was definitely funny. There's even a Strong Bad reference in it. I had to work that in there. Remember MTV actually played music for like a week straight with no live programming? Yeah, I remember like when I got home from school that day, like everything got canceled, right? So I just came home, opened the fridge, grabbed a soda, went and sat in my big old comfy chair, turned on MTV, and just stared at the television until Dad got home. And my dad's a fucking rock. Like my dad comes in and he goes, you okay? I look up at him and I'm like, not really. He's like, did you watch it happen? I'm like, yeah. The teachers turned on the TV. And he's like, okay. I'm going to go get us a pizza. And then my dad, being the absolute greatest father that you could ever ask for, comes back home with a pizza. We sit, we eat, we talk, we eat Doritos, and we talk some more, and he helps me process the whole thing. So yeah, that was what 9/11 was like. It was a day that I still think about it, and you can kind of tell it still kind of chokes me up, you know, because my life and the life of all Americans changed after that, you know, and in the following war, like there are people that I went to high school with that if I actually went to a high school reunion, people I grew up with simply just would not be there. Not because they didn't show up, but because they've been dead for a long time. You know, I saw friends go to war and come back completely different people. It's sad. It's just it's sad that it happened. You know. Always amazes me how the 1 year war era of Gundam has so much media, makes sure it doesn't conflict or retcon the original material. Yeah, they do a pretty good job of like keeping everything pretty like where it needs to be in regards to like how canon it is. There's some issues in Requiem for Vengeance. There's some like problems that I have with the lore, but admittedly, like one thing that I've realized by watching the 40K fan film, that the guy who did that like he's not that good with lore anyway, like at all. In fact, do you guys want to see something? I'm gonna have to check that out. Somebody just contacted me about a sponsorship. I don't get contacted about those very often. But anyway. What is the name of it? Milky Way Sweep. So for those of you who are 40K fans in here. Oh, someone asked me hottest Gundam girl. It's Haman, and it's not even close. But hey, I'm gonna play a video, and I want if some people in here might pick out what's wrong here, some might not. Careful that I need a scam. Yeah, I'm gonna look it over. I'll be very careful. Thank you for the that goal's old. Hold on. Thank you for looking out for me, Yo Beast. I appreciate it, buddy. Give me 1 sec. As funny as that meme is, that is from a fan film that the guy who did Gundam Requiem for Vengeance did. Who all picked up on what is incorrect in the lore there, or likely is not well researched in regards to the lore. Put my phone over here so it doesn't give static to the microphone. Have I watched Macross? Not for a very long time. It's been a very, very long time since I watched the original. I'm going to rewatch it at some point. 9/11 did affect Gundam. Toonami took it off the air for a while until 2002. Yes, Shogun, you are correct. I'm actually going to be working on a video in the future called 5 Gundam Myths. And one of them is exactly like, did Gundam 0079 actually get canceled on Toonami? Which it actually didn't. Because I'll let you guys know exactly what I'm doing for that. But yeah, so nobody caught it. It's the Imperial Fists being there. The Imperial Fists do not have a good relationship with the Inquisition at all. They don't have a good relationship with the Inquisition. The Black Templars don't have a lot of the Sons of Dorn in general do not trust the Inquisition. On top of that, they would not ever wake up 2 venerable dreadnoughts for a march. This is not what the Imperial Fists would fucking do. The Crimson Fists, on the other hand, they might, depending on the Inquisitor, because they actually have good relations with some people in the Inquisition. So, but even then, they're likely not going to wake up 2 venerable dreadnoughts to march. Not unless they're marching to war. Like, that's... Each time a dreadnought is woken up, it actually negatively can affect their psyche. They don't want to do it very often. So yeah. Well, here's the thing, Anime Guy. What I just played is not official. It was a fan film. The point that I was making is that the guy who directed that fan film, since he also did Gundam Requiem for Vengeance, he doesn't do good enough checking in lore like some other people would, and I think that's part of the problem with him in regards to what he does. Black Templars can literally look at the Inquisition and go, we were worshipping the God Emperor before you were even created, sit down. Not only that, Ginger, there's also the whole thing about the Celestial Lions. The reason that the Celestial Lions still exist is because of the Reclusiarch of the Black Templars, Grimaldus. And the lengths he went to basically bring that chapter back to strength, to make sure it survived, and the Inquisition still killed the chapter master after he saved them. After he saved him. And Grimaldus basically said, if the Inquisition continues this against you, they will have the wrath of the Black Templars on their hands. And they just recently went back to Armageddon. So, yeah, I'm wondering if Grimaldus is going to find out, but even worse, if Helbrecht finds out. That's a bad fucking day for the Inquisition, because the Templars will go after them. And they're not stopping the Black Templars. There's only 2 chapters that I would say could bring out a bigger force than what the Black Templars can do right now. And it's the Ultramarines and the Dark Angels, because both of them are technically a legion, though they're also technically not. So, also, even GW doesn't check their own lore, so I can't get too mad at fan productions. Apparently, they're getting a lot better about it. But it's not easy to do. Hey, Cats Are Evil. Thank you very much, man. But as I was saying, the Gundam Urban Legends I'll be going over whenever we do that video is, Hiro never tried to kill Relina in Gundam Wing. He did. Uso Irwin is Char Aznabel's grandson. I actually have to debunk that one. It's a popular fan theory, but it's not true. And then we get into the more controversial ones. Fujoshi's saved the original Mobile Suit Gundam. That's also not true. That's a meme that some people just decided to lie about and turn it into reality. Now, here's the fact. Gundam has, ever since the original show, has had a substantial female fan base. But at some point, some doofuses online took that as Fujoshi's. Not really the case. If I was starting to get into Warhammer 40k lore, where do I start? Any good YouTubers? My recommendations would be Voldemort's Guide to Warhammer. He's really, really good. Especially watch his video on the Salamanders, and then watch his video on the Black Templars. But he's really, really good. Where else is, who else is really good? Mr. Bones 40k is really good, and Isander and Coda are really good as well. They're very easy to listen to, podcasty styles. But here's the thing about Voldemort, because he's probably my favorite. Voldemort's Guide to Warhammer, that dude has the best voice for talking about Warhammer. Bar none. Like, his Black Templars video is the best video on the Black Templars. When he just starts reading off the litanies, like, god damn. It just sounds so fucking good. What is the best Gundam song? Opening theme, ending theme? Opening theme, I would have to put... Rhythm of Motion, I think. That one just hits really, really hard. Actually, no. No. The best one is actually probably Revolution from Gundam X. Closing theme? I'm going to say the original show, just because I think it's fun. Just the ballad of Amuro. Da 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 da. So, odd theory. How did Fujoshi save Gundam? So basically, and thank you, Alexander. Basically, what happened was the whole thing with the Fujoshi thing. So how it started was, it was well known that Gundam, the original show, actually had a decent female fan base, in which case a lot of other science fiction anime did not have at the time. Like Star Blazers did not, for example. And a lot of them said basically it was a lot of the interpersonal drama that they found really interesting. As time went on, people took that and a very and combined it with a admittedly very vocal Fujoshi group about that basically ships Char and Amuro. The two of them are basically got combined. The memes about them, for some people take memes as truth, and that's when it became the idea that Fujoshi saved Gundam, and it was toys that saved Gundam, not Fujoshis. There's not that many of them. Arch has a lot of good backlog, about 40k stuff, like Vrakins and the Bad Ab War. He's considered controversial. That's only because he hates new GW War and is Norwegian. Well, there's also, like, he did some kind of, like, weird videos that have, like, fucking nothing to do with Warhammer, like, about, like, ethnocentrism and shit like that. I'm like, dude, you talk Warhammer. What the fuck is wrong with you? But yeah, we'll be talking about that one. We'll be talking about, why Mobile Suit Gundam was canceled on Toonami, specifically on the fact that it's said that it was low ratings is what initially canceled it on Toonami, which is not true. I'll go into more detail about that another time. Gundam X got low ratings because of a time slot change. No, that's also not true. It started low, and then because it started low, it got shifted to another time because they had no expectations for it, and it never recovered. So that's a little different. And then the last one is Gundam Seed Saved Gundam. So I'll be talking about all of that. What else is there? Excuse me. He also freaked out over nothing about Space Marine 1 remaster coming up. It's really weird. It's just, they're just remastering it so you can play it in 4K. The only thing that I noticed that also, like, the orcs were, like, their armor was grayish instead of red, which I found kind of weird. I don't know why they did that, but it might have just been a mistake. It happens. Excuse me. I'm getting really tired. What is the most violent death in Gundam? I won't say the person, but there is a really bad decapitation in Victory Gundam. That's a really brutal one. Then there's the way that Caecilia died, because she gets decapitated by a rocket. What else is there? Then there's a couple in, there's a few in fucking, IBO that are really brutal. Like one dude literally gets split down the middle. People get crushed to death, so on and so forth. Do you believe the Imperial Guards of 40k are just cannon fodder, or are they more than meets the eye? They are looked at as kind of cannon fodder by the Imperium, because they're a horde army. You know, that's kind of what they do. They just throw a bunch of them at an objective and say, hey, shoot here. What's the one where they all pop like balloons? That one's actually Gundam Seed. They hit a group of people with a microwave cannon, and it just pops them all inside their suits. Seed admittedly has some brutal deaths. Like there's one dude, like another one of Kira's friends, you watch him get decapitated. By Shin, or not Shin, fucking Atherin. Atherin decapitates him. What are your thoughts on Invincible? I have not watched the most recent season, but I do enjoy the show. The comic is one of my favorite comics ever. Thoughts on Space Runaway Ideon? I need to finish it at some point. From what I watched of it, I really, really enjoyed it, but I have not gone back to watch it. All normal humans are fuel for the machine that is the Imperium. Some are just premium gasoline versus unleaded. Yeah, well, admittedly, like, there are some places that aren't that bad to live. But yeah, there's some that are fucking terrible. I'd hate to be in a hive city. I'd fucking despise being in a hive city, man. But yeah, like, Imperial Guard, there's this piece of art that is, like, from their box art. Or was it their codex? Might be their codex. Hold on a second. Yeah, it's this one. It's 9th edition codex. Let me pull this up. So this is the guard fighting a bunch of orcs. And you can see them just literally swarming a big orc right here. And outnumbering it to the point where there's an ogre in the back about to stab him in the top of the head. But the one thing to notice here is this ship in the back. That ramp is packed wall to wall with people and tanks. Yeah, they are a horde army. Like, and if you play guard on tabletop in 40k, get ready to spend a lot of fucking money. Okay, so this email was officially from AliExpress. I don't know much about AliExpress. I'll look into that. Because I could use the scratch. I won't lie to you. But anyway. What are your thoughts on how the 1 year war basically front-loaded like dozens of MS designed specifically the Federation, which makes it seem like the 3-month war compared to the 1 year war? Well, the thing about the 1 year war is that it has a bunch of activity at the early days. Then there's this middle ground up until the summer, where there's not a whole lot going on, but there is a march across the earth, basically, where Zeon is taking territory in Africa and Asia, so on and so forth. Once the summer of that year hits and the Gundams get rolled out and the gyms get rolled out, then it escalates again. Because if I remember right, Shirt Dude, I know you're here, correct me if I'm wrong, the original Gundam takes place in July, or starts in July or August of that year. Because I think that the original Gundam is like, it's like a 6-month timeline of the show itself. I'll have to look. Okay, so let me pull up the Universal Century timeline real quick. So 0079. Battle of Loom is in January. Yeah, the Gundam was completed in July. So it starts in July of that year and then goes until December. So it's 5 months. Micah's favorite shooter. Why is it Halo 3? It is actually not Halo 3. My favorite shooter, all shooters of all time. Every single fucking shooter ever created. My favorite is probably Gears of War 3. That's probably my favorite. Hey, Rascally Max, I appreciate it, buddy. Speaking of, does anyone in UC Gundam need to use a passport to travel? I assume that the Federation made it so the distinction of countries and borders no longer exists. You do need identification, though. I remember in I want to say it's Char's counterattack when Mirai is trying to get on a shuttle. They specifically ask her for ID. So. Who's worse, Xeon or the Titans? The Xeon, honestly. All the Titans really are is just Federation doing Xeon things. When you kind of like boil it down to it, it's just, but they're thugs. Both groups are thugs, you know. Sad to see how Microsoft butchered that series with Gears 4. I like Gears 4. There's nothing wrong with Gears 4. It's not as good as 3, but it's still pretty good. It's pretty enjoyable. The story, the one issue that I had with the story early on is that the kids, the new characters, they're all kind of snarky. But one thing you'll notice as you go through the campaign, as the campaign starts getting darker, that shit goes out the window. And then they start realizing, oh my god, I'm in hell. So yeah, I like Gears 4. I have no complaints about it except for that, and even in its context, it makes sense. Characters got to develop, so you got to put them in a place, and if they haven't really experienced war like the previous generation, they're going to be snarkier. They're going to be like a bunch of smartasses. It's like compare Zoomers to my generation. Like that's basically what it is. Cogrunner, I appreciate that, buddy. Absolutely. Gears 5 is very bad? No, it's not. Gears 5 is a lot of fun. What is this I hate everything that is new thing going on? I don't understand that. Gears 5 is fun too. Again, it's not as good as the original trilogy, but what third person shooter is outside of like Max Payne? You know? Like Gears 5 has probably the best horde mode out of all of them. It has the best netcode, bar fucking none. Gears 5 is terrible for making JD a war criminal. Well, technically speaking, he's not considered one. So that's an interesting thing. Because I'm of the opinion that they made the situation gray enough. You know? Because you kind of get the sentimentality of how that particular instance was viewed inside of that universe. It's basically, he ordered the crowd to be fired upon. Here's the thing. I'm not going to be getting too political in this. But the events that are in that are actually a parallel to real life events. One of them, now I'm not going to give unsolicited opinions on Israel again, somebody freak out on me, but what that's in reference to is or I think it's in reference to um, the Palestinian March of Return, where what started as a peaceful protest, quite literally, like there's plenty of documented evidence of this. What started as a peaceful protest got hijacked by Hamas, and they started attacking the border wall or the border fences, and then the IDF fired back. But the problem is that it's considered that the IDF went too far. And that is effectively the situation that JD is in. And how you look at that is going to depend on your perspective. I think they definitely made it nice and gray. Marcus and Anya would have never raised him to even consider shooting civilians. I don't agree. I think in certain situations, if Marcus Phoenix was having Molotov cocktails lobbed at him, I have a feeling he would open fire. Because at that point, what do? That's lethal force being used against you. Now, the difference is, and this is what I think is the difference between Marcus and his son, is that Marcus, I don't think he would he wouldn't open fire on all civilians. I think he would choose his targets wisely. But even in a crowd, somebody who didn't throw a Molotov is going to get zipped. And it sucks. Because guns are not that as accurate as you think they are. Marcus has an angry mob attacking him in the novels and refuses to fire on him. Really? That I did not know. If that is true, then I stand corrected. Because here's where I think it also sits in a gray area, is the fact that you have to keep in mind, these guys don't really know war. They don't really know anything about how to do this. And on top of that, they do work for a fascistic government. And I'm not being like some fucking safe, edgy, goofball Hassan Piker kind of guy. The coalition of the ordered governments is fascistic in their nature. Like, they are. I mean, they have breeding camps, for God's sake. You know, like, they're not good people. I compare them to the Imperium in 40K, because I think that's what inspired them. Happens in the Anvil Gate novel. I'll look into it. But the fact is that he doesn't know what to do. You know? Like, he has no fucking clue what to do. And as a young officer, you're gonna fuck up. You know? And it's a good explanation as to why he left the military. He left over his guilt. So it's not like he didn't learn from it. You know? Not like he doesn't feel bad about it. He in fact, you can kind of tell, like, during the course of 5, he hates himself for it. You know? The events are mentioned in the Gears intro. For Anvil Gate? Which Gears game? I don't remember. Was it in 5? No, it wouldn't have been in 5, because 5 starts pretty quickly. I don't know. Because I know that they talk about, like, the wars that humanity has on each other in the opening for Gears 2. Gears 3 intro? God, I must have forgotten, honestly. It's been a minute since I played Gears 3, admittedly. But yeah, if I stand corrected, then I stand corrected. I still do think that the situation is gray enough. But you might be correct. Marcus might not be willing to do that. I'll take your word on it. You know, because admittedly, I never read the novels. I read the comics. The comics were good. Anya talks about the island that they go to. Oh, okay. I'll have to... God, I really need to replay Gears 3. I don't have a way to do it right now, though. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, at that point, I think everybody who has is going to have a different perspective on what JD did. Some people that are more militaristic are going to look at it different than people who really don't have any skin in the game, you know? Hey, Flam, I appreciate that, buddy. I'm surprised I didn't get, like, more dislikes than I did on that particular video. There were people that were calling me, like, pro-censorship, though. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I'm not arguing for censorship. I'm saying that people didn't study what the bill says. That's not the same thing. Like, what the fuck? A DLC for Judgment where you go meet Gorosani references as well. I never played Judgment, admittedly. When I saw that Epic proper was not developing and it was People Can Fly, I didn't really play it. Not to mention, I heard you couldn't carry 4 weapons. I'm like, that's weird. Yeah, pro CP censorship? Absolutely. Exactly. Like, who the fuck is not against that? Because I think that what people might have missed, and maybe... Did they not watch the whole video? No. There's some people in the comments of that video that have left negative comments. You read it, you can tell they didn't view it. There was one dude that where I replied to his comment, and I'm like, no, you need to watch the video because I go over exactly what you're accusing me of doing. Like I discussed this, and he keeps arguing with me. I'm like, dude, and he types this long ass response about a judge not knowing what shonen anime is. I'm like, what the fuck does this have to do with the price of tea in China, dude? That's not the discussion. You goofy autist. Like, in the time that you spent typing that out, you could have watched the video and realized what the fucking dipshits that I called out got wrong. Like, what the actual fuck? Like, why did you pause the video and type a bunch of irrelevant shit? Like... I don't get it. But then again, I'm not autistic, so... I am just not a fan of fucking... I don't want to say that I'm not a fan of autistic people, because... I mean... I'm kidding. I'm fucking with you guys. But I do have fans who are autistic. But it is one of those things where it's like there is this thing, and it's not really it doesn't really have to do with autism. It's more of an internet autism thing where some people hyper focus on one little thing without looking at the whole picture, and by not looking at the whole picture, you miss very important details. They don't want to do the proper research, just go into doomer rage, basically. This thing's gonna sound like a stretch, but maybe your latest video about YouTubers being wrong might have been something to do with your channel being hacked. Maybe. I'm not going to say one way or the other. Brain had mentioned this to me. He's like, dude, the timing of this is weird. And I'm like, it is a little weird, but I'm not going to blame fucking, like, Chibi Reviews or anything like that for it happening. And I don't know if the dude who did it is a crazed fan or not. There's no evidence. So, all I know is the dude doesn't have the control of the account now. I do, and I can get back to entertaining you guys and making money, which is what I like doing, you know. I think the biggest issue would how its similarity to Australia, it could be brought forward individually by things like concerned parents. I understand your worry, Jared. How about I do this, guys? Let me go over exactly a section of the bill that's very tough. So, what we're going to go over is the Miller test. So, there was a court case called Miller versus California. This happened a while ago. Miller versus California was in, I want to say it was like the 1970s. 1973. So this was 52 years ago. 52 years ago, there was a case about obscenity, and the Miller test was brought in. So let me actually explain what this means. So this is from the Cornell Law School. Obscenity is a category of speech that is unprotected by the First Amendment's freedom of speech and expression doctrine protections. Obscenity laws are concerning with prohibiting lewd or extremely offensive words or pictures in public. All 50 states have individual laws controlling obscene material. Obscenity is evaluated by federal and state courts alike using a 3-part test, and this is actually in the bill in Texas, established by Miller v. California. The Miller test for obscenity includes the following criteria: whether the average person sees the material as having/encouraging excessive sexual interest based on community standards. And by the way, you need to hit all 3 of these for it to be considered obscene. 2, whether the material depicts or describes sexual conduct in a clearly offensive way as defined by the applicable state laws. And 3, whether the work, when it's considered in its entirety, keep that in mind, considered in its entirety, lacks serious literary, artistic, political, or scientific value. That's the toughest one of the 3. And here's the thing, guys. If this was easy to get through, why didn't he have a successful law degree? Because when he tried to go up against 2 Live Crew, if I remember right, this is what stopped him in his tracks. He also couldn't prove that Grand Theft Auto was under or qualified for obscenity either. He could never make the case. Ever. And that's because it's really hard to get past. So that context has to be kept in mind, is that you have to pass the Miller test. On top of that, the bill itself is very specific about what it's looking for. It's not an anime ban. It's not talking about all anime. It's very specific. So let me show you guys something about the law that is kind of interesting. And this is where they fucked up. So I'm gonna bring up the bill real quick. So whenever you have a bill that goes into Congress or goes into the state, definitions have to be referenced. They have to be, that are used in the document. So, reads here, a bill to be entitled an act relating to the creation of the criminal offense of possession or promotion of obscene visual material, and then right here, appearing to depict a child. Now, what they always go over, what they always highlight, is this stuff down here that they say is loose. It's loose if you take it out of its context, maybe. Let's read it. A person commits an offense if the person knowingly possesses, accesses with intent to view, or promotes obscene, this word is important, obscene visual material containing a depiction that appears to be of a child younger than 18 years of age engaging in activities described by Section 4321. Well, what is Section 4321? 4321, right here, they're looking for obscenity. This means the Miller test comes in. In fact, the Miller test is actually referenced, if I remember right. Yeah, it's down here in obscenity. And it goes through a whole definition in how it relates. So here, and there's also specificities as well, containing a depiction that appears to be of a child younger than 18 years of age. Now, the reason that they use the word appears, because this is another one that they say is too loose. No, it's not. It obviously can't be a child, a real child, because it's art. So appears is used in the sense of, I am looking at something and this is what appears in front of me, is this image. So upon looking at this, it appears that this is this. Though, so effectively, if I see art and it is of a child, an obvious child, in a sexual act as defined by Texas Penal Code, then there's a problem. And there could be charges filed. Promote has the meaning of side by section this, and then promote, I believe I actually scrolled past it. And this goes over like different types of promotion, stuff like that, and what that means. And then on top of that, visual material and what that means. So this is all well defined, exactly what they're looking for. And at that point, the question is, what could you be charged for, and would it pass the Miller test? To be honest with you, I don't. It's very hard to pass the Miller test. Very hard. There isn't a whole lot that has passed it. Keep in mind all the porn that you can access legally online. That is effectively passing the Miller test. There's a lot of it. You know? Hentai should not be banned, whether it's not it's art for artistic expression, it's drawn. Characters are not real minors. They are not based on real minors. Anyone who wants it banned is a fascist. Vladislav, what if it is an actual child? What if it is an actual child that is being depicted? As in, it is a drawing of a 10-year-old being fucked by someone. Then yes, it should be banned. That's what we're talking about, dude. I'm not talking about all hentai. Like what your reaction there is exactly what I'm talking about, bro. Like that sort of like you got fucking pissed and just started ranting. It's like that's like who are you ranting at? Obviously not me, because that's not what I'm arguing for. You know? Let's take Shadman's art an example. The Aeon gets it. That's what they're looking for. Because of how tough the Miller test is to pass, even a lot of hentai probably would not get banned. Where there will probably be cases is if it is characters under the age of 18 years of age. There's going to be a question there. And by the way, I'm not supporting anybody going to jail over it or anything like that. What I'm saying is there might be charges filed. In which case, it would have to go to court. And then in court, that is when that particular medium would be declared obscene by the laws. Because this is something that is a cultural divide between Japan and America. And this is where cultural divides and the law start to come into effect. Is Japan has a lower, depending on the prefecture, has a lower age of consent than what we have in the United States. The lowest, I think, in the States is 17. And then I think the lowest in Japan used to be 14. Now I think it's around 16. Like a lot of those laws got updated over the last 5 years. So even though they updated it, it's still lower than ours. So what is found acceptable between two different countries is completely different. So effectively what would have to happen is there would have to be a court case over this, which is going to suck because it's time, it's money, it's effort, long legal arguments, and everybody is just basically going, biting their nails the whole time because you worry about the ramifications of the case, right? And then of course it could go to appeal if it goes a certain way. It could go to the Supreme Court, so on and so forth. As it stands, there is the distinct possibility that maybe some that depict younger people, maybe like 16-year-old high schoolers or something like that, that might trigger that might get tossed. In which case, on a personal level, I am not of the opinion that you should be portraying anybody under the age of 18 as in a sexual manner, just in general, like blatant sexually. And by blatant, I mean like what the law considers blatant. Which, if you come in here and you where was it at? I want to say it was in visual material. Yeah, possession or promotion of child pornography. It's right here in the penal code. What this defines and what it defines as sexual acts in relation to possession of child pornography is very specific. And the Texas law is not written in a way that I think a lot of people would really disagree with. At least not sensible people. Not us normal folk, right? So yeah, buddy, don't think that I'm pro censorship, man. Thank you, Gerardo Santana, for $5. Says we got to be specific and not just blanket generalize. Curious, this is all tied to Visa, MasterCard trying to control Japanese R18 sales. I don't know. I'm really not quite sure what brought this about. Because one of the big things that like was discussed in the lead up to it was specifically AI art of child porn. Because I noticed that discussion on this started happening, at least from what I noticed, whenever Blue Sky got popular. You guys remember when Blue Sky like got really popular after the election, and then suddenly there was a lot of reports of a bunch of child porn being on there? That's when I first started hearing about bills going into effect that specifically related to things along those lines. You know. So, but yeah, the things that this is that the law goes over, like it's not going over the things that these YouTubers are saying, and which is why I did a video on it. It's going specifically for child porn. And yeah, it's like the things that would likely just be automatic, the things that would automatically land a guy in jail, I would think that probably everyone in this chat and anybody who watches the VOD would find very disagreeable. You know, and we would find disgusting. So. Don't worry about it, Vlad. Here's the thing. I don't really get angry about misunderstandings these days, because at the end of the day, a lot of people are... Can I send it to a reaction VTuber I know? Absolutely. I encourage people to share those videos. I would love... And it helps me out quite a bit, because it helps the channel grow. You know, I even told people, it's like with the marathon video, I noticed that Asmon was talking about it. And I'm like... And Tectone was talking about it. I'm like, send it to them. You know, if you guys see any of my videos go up where I discuss topics like this, and you would like someone else to give their opinion on what I say, you, like, do not hesitate. I encourage it, because it starts conversations, and if it starts an interesting conversation, you know, it's going to help me grow. You know, it's going to help me get the word out there. And I've admittedly had a problem with word of mouth. You know, everything so far has been a very slow build for this channel. And Shirt Dude and I have been working very hard to grow it. And I want to get to a point where he and I are, you know, making good money, creating even more good content, and so on and so forth. So, they added Wing Zero and GBO2. It's a twin buster gun and got nerfed so bad it can't one-shot a suit. Oh, that sucks. But yeah, I don't get mad about those things, dude. Like it's one of those things where I try my best to facilitate conversation. And I know, and the one thing that I'll notice, buddy, is that you didn't insult me. You didn't call me pro censorship or anything like that. You didn't throw an accusation my way that wasn't true. You just, sometimes, people get emotional about topics because we're passionate. And when we're passionate about things, emotions can run rampant. And sadly, emotions block that part of your brain that accesses logic. And it's just one of those things that as time goes on, you learn that, okay, maybe this isn't necessarily the case, or maybe we can talk about this and come to a common ground, or maybe I'm not seeing this properly. The fact that you're willing to admit you're wrong is huge. It shows maturity, and it shows a willingness to learn that I sadly don't see enough of these days. So just no hard feelings, buddy. Is there a reason why you only use Gundam clips in the English dub when doing the Gundam history videos instead of the original dub in Japanese? I've used both. In fact, there's a section in 1 Year War where I discuss a difference in the wording in Japanese and English because it's kind of, one is harsher than the other, and I found that very interesting. So I bring that up and just generally speaking, like why I find that interesting. But on the flip side, the other reason that I don't do it, because sure, dude usually will do most of it, but excuse me, is very simple. And I'll show you what I mean. 1 second. Here's the explanation.
I don't speak Japanese.
That's it. I don't speak Japanese. I watch dubs. I understand some people prefer subtitles. I do not. I prefer to listen to things in my native language, even if the dubbing is not that good. Because I think there's way too many content creators that don't go over dubs and discuss, whether or not what can make them good, what makes them bad, And I like to do that. And God, it's been fucking forever since I've played For Honor. I'd like some genuine advice. How do I report obscene material? The websites have ridiculous rules for reporting. I don't believe the FBI would do anything about it. That's a good question. It depends on where it's seen. What I would do is I would contact local law enforcement and see what they suggest. Because if there is stuff out there that is legit bad, definitely look into reporting it to law enforcement as soon as possible. But yeah, I got you, bro. Flam actually puts it really good in chat here. He says, I like to be able to freely look at the artwork when an anime is good, or half pay attention when it isn't. Got to listen in a language I actually speak for that. Yeah, that's where I'm at. Because here's the thing, like, I don't know if you guys have ever noticed, I'm very fidgety. And I'm just one of those people that I actually pay attention a lot better when I'm doing something with my hands. And when I'm listening to someone. So, whenever I was in college, I would take notes constantly. I was always writing. Because it helped me to remember what was being said, both just because my hands were busy and my mind was consistently going. I've just been that way. And I knew a lot of people in college that were the same way. Like, I had a friend who, during sermons, would be watching the sermon at school, because I went to a theology college. Who would be listening to the sermon that we would have, and then he would be doing a Rubik's cube while I did it, because it helped him think. You know, it helped him process things. So, admittedly, like, because I have two monitors here that sit literally, like, right next to each other. When I was watching Freyrin, I had Freyrin on my right monitor, and then on my center monitor, I had, like, Solitaire, or something like that. I keep hearing that Wing Gundam has a terrible dub. I thought it was simply basically, like, plays a specific lore for them. Unfortunately, regular ass people don't care for plays. Yeah, I think a lot of people also don't give it the grace of the fact that the dub for Gundam Wing was done 30 years ago. Like, the standards have raised, but for 30 years ago, it's good. But yeah, Freyrin, like, that dub is one of the best I've heard in a long time. Will I play Giren's Greed games if they're remastered into English? Yeah, if they get remastered and translated to English, I would be up for it. Sure. When Gundam is fine, some of the dialogue is just over the top. Yeah, basically. Like, and like, science fiction in general has that going for it. Like, again, I'm a 40K fan, you know? Who doesn't love lines that just go hard, right? This is Trey's Kushranada. Murder Tubarov. Like, it's so fucking good, dude. It gives me chills. I love it. One of my favorite lines ever. Ever! Likely because Freyrin is a slow-paced show. Many modern dubs are bad because the shows are too fast. Well, that could factor into it, but Black Lagoon moves pretty quick, and that's got, like, probably the best dub ever. Same thing for whatchamacallit, Hellsing Ultimate. It moves at a pretty quick pace. Hey, thanks, Doomsick. I appreciate it, buddy. Give me just a second, guys. I'm going to get up and stretch real quick. Ugh. Oh. Kind of fucking boxers riding up my legs, and that's very uncomfortable. But anyway. Stretching my hip out a bit. Oh, golly. Getting old, guys. I'm getting old. Oh. Like walking on packing peanuts. Fuck. But, God, I am nowhere near as flexible as I used to be. Ugh. Gosh. Ugh. Oh, man. Oh. Ugh. Gosh. When your boxers guillotine your balls, it's the worst. Yeah, exactly. Can see my leg? There it is. It's very thick. Still very solid, too. It's this that's not solid. Or this. Those parts need work. The rest of me, though, not too bad. The rest of me needs work, too, don't get me wrong. But it's getting better. Obscene, that wouldn't pass this. Oh, goodness. Just walk more. That's the plan. Get more walking in. I kind of want to just do that whenever it's like the early morning. That's one thing I miss from my early days when I first moved out here. I was working at a hotel, worked third shift, right? And one of my favorite things working there was getting to watch the sunrise every morning. I think I ought to do that more often. I think I ought to start, like, end my day watching the sunrise, go on a quick walk, like just like a mile or so, and then come back and go to bed. So. Cogrunner says, wanted to say for your Godzilla Singular Point, great review. One point you said that the writer wanted to show everyone his college assessment. Kid you not, the director literally said this. Yeah, someone actually kind of got on me about like him being like a physicist or something. And I'm like, okay. I thought they were being a dick about it, but maybe they weren't. It kind of came across like he thought I was like trying to like shit talk his accomplishments. I wasn't. I was just saying it's like he didn't really integrate it as good as I think he could have. This was my criticism. Speaking of Gundam, I'm watching Zeta Gundam where you left off. Kind of find it frustrating how clingy Beltorchika is to Amuro and how naive Fa is to Camille. The Beltorchika thing is because she's a new type. She can read him very easily. New types tend to be drawn to one another very quickly. You see that also with Fa and Amuro. You'll see that with Judo and fucking everyone. Just some new types, especially if they're really nice people, tend to draw other people to them. That's part of the reason why Haman was obsessed with Judo, is because of just how she could read him, you know. And she just she wouldn't let her walls down, you know. She didn't want to be who she was, but she just couldn't get away from it. God, Double Zeta is such a sad story. It's a great story, but it's a sad one. Hey, Jeremiah Hembry, thank you for renewing your membership. He says, I'm surprised at this show. It's giving me all the death. I'm glad you're watching a good fantasy. Yeah, it's pretty good stuff. Having only watched the early One Year War stuff, when did Amuro and Sayla become an item? It's kind of like implied in the original, but there's not really a whole lot of like evidence that it happened. It's clear that they like kind of like each other, but you could say the same thing about Amuro and Frau Bo. Okay. What am I getting bothered about? Oh. Okay. Sorry. Somebody was DMing me something. Meant Gundam anyway. Oh, no worries, dude. Have I heard of Retcon 404? I have heard of them. I watched their Gundam Seed video, and that was it. The Gundam Seed video is very entertaining. I'm sorry, no. I watched his Seed Destiny video. That was very entertaining. Also say Char's turn from Zeta into counterattack is a bit jarring. Feels like he's on a redemption arc. Then nope. Yeah, that's something that I'm going to talk about in whenever I review Char's counterattack. Because like my way of doing things is that I do the deep dive, then I review the next show that I'm going to do the deep dive of, then I do the deep dive, and it just repeats like that. So whenever I review Char's counterattack, I think some people are going to be kind of surprised by it. It's not going to get the Mallow Mark treatment, but there's going to be a lot of sections where I'm kind of like expressing some of my issues with it. And I'm also going to do a part at the end of it, because some of these videos I've been planning out for years. At the end of it, what I plan on doing is actually spitting a sort of its own G-Quux, in a sense, where an alternate history, how I would have told the story. Keeping some of the same general ideas, but swapping out some characters. Specifically, I would get rid of, God, what is it? Gune. And I'd substitute him with Camille. Yeah. Would I include Gundam Beyond the Aurora in the review? What's Beyond the Aurora? I don't think I've heard of that. This better not be porn. It is a biography. Maybe. I might look into it. One thing I'm curious about, I wonder, did they end Office Lady Haman-sama? Nope, there's a new chapter. Okay, I'm not gonna read that right now, but it does exist. Would I recommend watching Seed? I did too. I reviewed Seed. I reviewed Seed Destiny. I reviewed Seed Freedom, and then I reviewed Seed Stargazer. The only one I liked was Stargazer. The other three, I fucking lambast each series. One thing I will admit is the Seed video is not my best. That was before Shirt Dude and I started working together. I wasn't really taking YouTube that seriously at the time, but I had rewatched it for whatever reason, and I just felt like ranting about it. I think the only Seed you haven't watched is Seed Astray. Does Astray actually have an anime? Because if we're going to talk about Seed, I'm just going to put this here. The real ones will know what I'm talking about. Meant to say read? Okay, yeah, I have not read it, no. There's a short 15-minute anime for Astray, but that's it. I can think of worse things. Sorry. But yeah, this kind of this sums up my feelings on Gundam Seed. Is the piano. His name was Nicole, and he played the piano. What else did he do? I got nothing. I have not watched G-Reco. No, Jim, I think you've asked me that like 3 times. I thought I mentioned it earlier. I have not watched it. But yeah, like my argument is like the other pilots that hang around Atherin are just so fucking just not characters. The writing is so bad. So bad. Have I watched Code Geass? Yes, I have. Things of note, Callan's ass is huge, and it's a pretty good story. Any hopes for Gears of War Judgment Day? You mean Emergence Day? I think it'll probably be good. I'm not super worried about it. Question: once I finish watching Big O, which Gundam is a good starter for me? You can never go wrong with the original. The original is amazing. Oh my gosh. I'm so fucking worn out, man. Callan does have a fine bakery. I am convinced that the director of Code Geass is an ass man. Goro Taniguchi. Like, because not only are there quite a few women with like very round posteriors in Code Geass, the other anime he's known for doing, aside from Planetes, is called Gunsword. And Gunsword has a few characters that are the same way. So, and I'm not complaining. I am also a man of culture. Oh my gosh. I gotta say, it's good to be back. Not that I was gone for very long, but man, I am worn the fuck out. Absolutely worn the fuck out. Would I ever do a review on Code Geass and its sequels? I did a review on Code Geass. It's on the channel. Give me a second. I want to say it's like called like Code Geass Let Them See Cake. Where is it at? Yeah, Code Geass review. Let Them See Cake. I also forgot that the uncensored version of that review is supposed to be members only. So that I just changed it. So if you guys are members, now you'll be able to see that. Oh gosh. So the last thing I wanted to talk about, I want to run something by you guys. So I specifically wanted to talk about where we are with what I would like to do. So Shirt Dude and I have been talking about doing a podcast together. And Flam, thank you for becoming a member. It's not what you think. No, I appreciate it because that's actually relevant to what I'm about to talk about. What I wanted to talk about specifically was what would be to do the podcast. The big thing is that obviously because Shirt Dude would be doing more work, I need to be able to pay him more. So with a lore-based podcast, basically what it would be is that every week, Shirt Dude and I would sit down, we would take a topic. Like there would be an episode called The Life and Times of Amuro Ray, where we do a full discussion of the life of the character. What he did, what he went through, his military career, what his rank was, so on and so forth. Or the importance of the gym, or the importance of the Zaku, things along those lines. We would do full podcasts about them. Hour plus long. And what we would do is for people who are members or patrons on the Patreon that are throwing in $5 or more a month, they will they'll get access to it. And the access would be for 6 months. So basically, an episode would come out in June. Members would get it immediately. The episode would come out in December for everybody else and for the rest of the world. And the thing is, where we need to do to get there, money-wise. Because it's going to take a little bit more time, more effort, so on and so forth. So, here's what I'm going to do. Right now, we are at like the $5 level or higher. We are at one, two, three, four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. I think I counted that right. 1, 2, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep, 10 plus 21. We are at 31. 31 people. Why such a distance in months? Because I want you guys to, for that $5 you would be giving me per month, I want it to feel like it's worth it. The podcast wouldn't be exclusive about Gundam because 40k stuff would be nice. Well, that's why it would be called the Lore Masters. We would go over other stuff too. Because I'm also very knowledgeable about 40k lore. I'm also very knowledgeable about Star Wars. I'm also very knowledgeable about comic books. So there's a lot I could go over on the show. But yeah, that would be why the distance in months, because you guys would be giving me $5 a month, you know, to basically make it easier for me to live. So, and of course, more money to give the shirt dude. So yeah. Plus, also, like, I would be doing more content in general. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking if we get to 65 members between YouTube and Patreon at the $5 level or higher, which on YouTube is just members, we will start that podcast. That's what I'm thinking. Once we get to that level, once we get to the 60s, then yeah, we would do that. On top of that, people who are in at the 10 or above, like Flam just upgraded to Crusader, people that are in at 10 or above can actually suggest topics for the show. On top of that, we'll also put up polls for topics as well for people to vote on them, and that would determine the order of the ones that we come to ourselves. So you guys would have a lot of control over the show as well. So that is what we would do basically. And I hope you guys will consider it. I'm gonna obviously keep bringing it up. I might set a member goal on the channel to get it there. I would have to commission some art too to get that ready to go. And what I've thought about doing for it is having a hangar, like a mobile suit hangar, where there is on one side the Sinanju Stein, my custom one, sitting there reading a book, and on the other side there's Shirt Dude's Act Guy reading a book, but it's a massive book, and then there's a projection screen in the middle between the two as there's a discussion going on. So at least that's what I'm considering. How are the Inglewood books coming along? I still don't have the money to ship them, which is fucking depressing. I was starting to save money, and then when my computer shat the bed on me, I had to tap into my savings. So I don't know when they're gonna get out, and it's very, very frustrating. But I'm gonna keep working, keep trying to make more money, so we can get them out of this apartment, because I'm ready for people to read them, you know? And admittedly, that's part of why I want to publish the novelette that I just did. So, because that money will go towards that too. Thank you, Columbia, for $5. Is Micah Lives Stomp Stomp? Yes, indeed. Oh, I need to why are these stream elements not playing? Hold on. Very frustrating. That's the donation goal. There's the alert box. Update the... I've waited a while. Everybody has Anime Guy. I know. I don't know if you can tell him. Dude, it fucking eats at me. Like, I'm not doing it to fuck with anybody. I just don't have the money to get them out. I mean, this is what happens when someone steals $10,000 from you, dude. everything, and I had already lost like most everything in my life before that. Lost my car, lost my job. You know, this has been a very long, painful rehabilitation process of an entire life, man. And I wish I could fix it in a day. If I could just go and it was done, dude, it would be done. I promise you. For some reason, Stream Elements is not updated at all. Like, it's not getting any information from YouTube. Oh, there it goes. Thank you, boss, for throwing in $5. Says, here's the shipping costs. We'll get there at some point. We'll get there. But, now you see why so much of my beard is white. It's very stressful. You know, it's very stressful. Oh, somebody asked me about Expedition 33 earlier. I haven't sat down to play it yet. I played a little bit, but I need to... God, I got all sad. There's so many stories I want to tell, you know? That's another thing I would do. If you guys want, I would absolutely do stories like fiction, like I guess fan fiction stories about 40K and stuff like that. I'd absolutely do it. Because I noticed that there's some websites that do stuff like that. I'm like, you know what? That would be pretty cool. So I'd be willing to do stuff like that too. Do you guys have your own 40K group like Eldar, Orc, or Tau guy in the group? Actually, Zodiac, in my Discord server, this is another member's benefit. For my Discord server, we actually are getting people together to play 40K on Tabletop Simulator. And people have like a couple of different armies. Like Boss is in there. He's a Space Wolves guy. My two preferred armies that I use are the Salamanders and the Ultramarines. Brainbox is in there too. He's my lead mod. He plays White Scars. Another guy, Brother Mouse, who's a buddy of mine. He plays Black Templars. Shirt Dude, he plays the Mechanicus. Xavier, my friend Xavier has mentioned because he's also a mod for me, has mentioned wanting to get into it as well. He's talked about the Tau, but given his personality, he'd be more of an Iron Hands guy. So, but yeah. So that's another incentive, man. You know, I'm trying to get things like that going in the community so that, you know, people aren't sitting at home all the time just like fiddling around and, you know, but they've got like some fun stuff to do and get to do cool stuff with the community, you know. Is Tabletop Sim free or do I need to break the bank to get it? I think it's only $20. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's $20. And yes, another friend and patron, Loco, he's an orc. He's an orc player. Yeah, $20, and then I would help you with the mods and stuff like that. I've even taught several people how to play the tabletop and also like how to put your army together. Yeah, Flam. It's difficult, but I soldier on. I keep going. I just don't stop. Though I won't lie. I thought when this hack happened that it was over. For a little bit. For like a brief moment. I sat here and I cried like a bitch. Like a total pussy. I just wept. Because I thought it was done. Like, what the fuck am I going to do now? And I just, I started doing a little writing about, like, what to do about certain things. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep at this. I'm going to keep trying. I'm not going to surrender. Not ready to die. That song like started playing in my head, and Not Ready to Die by Demon Hunter. So I kept going. And I'm going to keep going. What do I think of the Leagues of Votan? Diggy Diggy Hole is kind of all I know about them. Rock and Stone. They're dwarves. I don't know a whole lot about them beyond that. They need more lore. But they're going to be in Mechanicus too. So we might get more lore about them. I'm interested in that. I need to play Mechanicus 1. I mean, it's a great soundtrack, and it just happened to come with a video game. Alright, guys. I'm fucking tired. I've been up since 4 o'clock yesterday. I'm going to go lay down and try to sleep. Remember, please consider becoming a member. Once we get to that mark, when we get up to 60 members, we will go ahead and start working on getting that new podcast started for you guys. And then, of course, don't forget to watch On the Grind, too, because that one's a great one as well. So on that note, guys, I'm going to take off. I'm going to go get some sleep finally. Everybody have yourselves a great one. I'll see you guys with the video for Crossange. Appreciate you guys. Catch you later.